Parrying in Souls-like games is one of the toughest mechanics to pull off. The timing can be very tight, and most of the time the reward for landing, it really isn't justified for the risk you took. But come on, someone's got an aura farm in your expedition, right? If it's not them, it's gonna be you. If you clicked on this video, chances are you already know what parrying is. The word parry gets thrown around a lot. When you hear it, you might think of Sekiro.
Actually, you pronounced it wrong. And it's deflect, not parry.
Man, shut the f. Or you might think of the Executor's parries. And to be fair, that still makes sense, since the word literally means to ward off an attack with a counter move. I guess it counts. But today we're talking about the OG parry. The move you pull off just to remind the enemies,
I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better.
And in this video, I'll talk about how parrying works and how you can do them, as well as other things that you should know. So the next time you go into a game, you can go up to the Wilder and remind him that he's not using half his kit. But why would you want to parry in the first place? How is it any better than just playing the game normally? Just dodge away when you're about to get hit. Well, there are several reasons. Sometimes things can get a little bit overwhelming. So when you parry an enemy and you do a riposte, it gives your teammates some time to heal up or even revive your friend. Another reason would be to give your teammates a damage window. Sometimes the enemies can be annoying, so when you parry and riposte, you'll give your teammates the window to deal damage and finish off the enemy. And in some rare cases, you can actually use it to finish the fight basically instantly. This can actually save you a lot of time and allow you and your team to actually go explore or do something else, especially if you're falling behind on the knight's encroachment.
Nice.
Or you just want to make the most out of your character's kit. Take the Duchess for example. Her gimmick is centered around the dagger, which has the highest crit modifier. To maximize its potential, you'll want to focus on parrying so you can fish for those critical hits. Actually, let me get the terminology out of the way first. This is a parry, this is a riposte, this is a backstab, and this is throwing. Shame on you, Samiri. Let's talk about the equipments and the types of parries. You've seen it all before. There's a ton of variety there. So let me break it down for you. Now, this is a part where I explain things. Since I know half of you have the attention span of a goldfish, I'll put on some Subway Surfers gameplay on the side so you don't fall asleep. When you parry, only a small window of frames in the animation can actually deflect the attack. And on top of that, the parry frames vary depending on what equipment you use to parry with. And in Nightreign, there are a total of 7 equipments that can come with a parry skill. These include daggers, curved swords, thrusting swords, fists, claws, small shields, and medium shields. But it doesn't end there. If you played the game before, you would notice that there's different kinds of parries. There's the parry, the golden parry, the carrion retaliation, Thop's barrier, and the buckler parry. Now these 3 is essentially the same as a normal parry, just with different uses. If you want to know more, I urge you to just go read the visual codex. Since these variations are essentially the same, I'll take it out of the equation to avoid any confusion. So now we're left with the parry and the buckler parry. The difference between the two is that the buckler parry has a shorter startup before the parry frames become active. In other words, the time between initiating the parry animation, like your input, and reaching the actual window where an attack can be parried is reduced compared to a regular parry, ever so slightly. It's just a few frames. Despite this, it still gives you more reaction time and makes it easier to land your parries, especially against faster enemies or unpredictable attacks. Okay, here's how to parry. The short and quick version. First, you find a victim, wait for them to attack, just before they hit you, for a split second, do your parry. Honestly, that's all there is to it. Keep an eye out on the weapon and the hand. The moment it starts showing any forward motion, you know it's your cue to parry. But what about the parries that are unsuccessful? If the attacks hit you during the animation for the parry, but not when the parry window is active, good news, you'll only take a bit of damage, but it will eat a lot of your stamina. How much damage you take and how much stamina it chunks off depends on how strong the attack is that you want to parry. This is further amplified in higher depths. don't look so gloomy. There are still some things you can get out of this. Kinda. Since getting hit during the animation of the parry counts as guarding, any weapons or equipments that you have that has its passive related to it can be triggered. But how does any of this work? If you're a gamer, you're probably familiar with something called hitboxes. And in this game, every attack the enemy does has them. I think you already know where this is going. I'll save you the explanation and then go straight into how the hitboxes work with the parries. When you parry, you have this invisible sphere around your character that is essentially your effective range of parry, and it's only active for a certain amount of frames. Since you already know the attacks have hitboxes, a parry only works if the enemy's attack hitbox enters your parry sphere during the active frames of your parry. I'll show another parry in slow motion. You can see when the parry frames are active and when the attacks comes into the sphere. Yeah, it's tighter than you think.
That's what she said!
If you want to dig deeper and actually see the parry frames on different equipments, I highly recommend checking out Angbata's video. Since Nightreign's parry mechanics are carried over from Elden Ring, the video is still highly relevant, and he does a fantastic job at illustrating all the different types of parries. I'll link the video in the description. But don't let any of that discourage you. If you can dodge roll at the perfect time, you can parry at the perfect time as well. You just need to practice. But what if you have latency? If you're lagging a bit, will it still work? Don't worry, I'll cover this later. For now, just take your time to understand the mechanic. So yeah, now that you know how to parry, get out there and enjoy parrying everything. Wait, what? The fun police is here. What are you doing? Oh wait, you can't parry everything. Oh, that's a shame. Unfortunately, in this game, you are only able to parry humanoids, demi-humans, or pretty much enemies in between that wield a reasonable sized weapon. FromSoft can be pretty vague about what you can actually parry. Sure, some cases are obvious, but then there's this gray area where you've basically got to test it yourself. That massive troll swinging a sword 10 times your size? Yeah, good luck with that. But a Crucible Knight's sword swing? Now that's fair game. I can't really list all the enemies you can parry. Actually wait, that might be a good video idea. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see it. But yeah, since I can't name all the enemies, the best I can do is give you a guideline. You know what? I'll throw in some random facts as well to start. Yes, you can parry the Fell Omen, but it's not really worth it since you need to do it 3 times before you can do a riposte. Also, do you remember the annoying Knight's Cavalry? Well, if you parry him, it just gets him off his horse. No more running around the map just to tickle his back end. Oh, and you can't parry the one with the flail. You just can't parry flails. Speaking of horses, you can also parry the Tree Sentinel, Loretta, and the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Well, I'm not sure about the last one, since I haven't actually tried parrying him yet. But in the base game you can, so I'm assuming you can as well in Nightreign. But I don't think it's worth it. I don't want to know if you can, and I don't want to try. But I digress. Going back to the guideline I mentioned earlier, I guess the general rule of thumb is that if it's bigger than Market the Fell Omen or the Tree Sentinel, chances are you can't parry them. As for the moves you can parry, it's kind of vague, but you can see a pattern. It's pretty much most physical attacks that comes from the weapon straight from the enemy's hands swinging at you. And I emphasize on the word most because some of the attacks that falls into this description you can't actually parry, like jump attacks or attacks with comically long windups. It's not really definitive. I guess if I have to summarize, if an attack looks unrealistically too strong, even for the likes of blocking, it's probably best not to try and parry. There's always a time and place for you to do it. That's why risk analysis is so important in this game. Before you parry, think. If you try and do this parry and you go down, will it cripple the run? It's also worth mentioning that you can also parry the Night Invaders. It's just not as ideal since during your riposte, the Night Invader has iframes, and during the critical hit animation, your teammates can't deal any damage. But it's still pretty cool though. Going back on parrying with latency, is it even worth it when you're lagging? Yes and no. Depends on how much value you bring to the team if you manage to parry. This clip is a good example. Our recluse has Shattering Crystal. She can deal a lot of damage if she's up close. That's why I'm trying to fish for a parry. Anyways, back to the topic. Those of you who've tried parrying with high latency will notice that the parry seems to work, but it doesn't register and you also don't take damage. This isn't confirmed, but from my speculation, it's probably because on the client side you've managed to successfully parry the enemy, but not according to the server side. Now there is a way around this, it's adapting to the delay. To pull this off in a high latency game, you have to parry earlier than when you're supposed to, and the only way to find out is trial and error. If you manage to adapt, you can pull this off. I'm kinda proud of this one. But yeah, adapting can be pretty hard. That's why it's probably not worth it trying to parry, especially if you're in higher depth, where you can get one shot. But I know some of you will still do it anyway. This brings us to the end of the video, but don't leave just yet, I still got things I've gotta say. Parrying is a feat, and merely an optional gimmick to add to your gameplay. It's not easy at all. It requires you understanding the movesets, the timing, and most importantly the confidence. So if you've managed to consistently do it, give yourself a pat on the back. You have my respect. But at the end of the day, Nightreign is still a team-based game. If you value your runs, be smart about what you do and when you do it, including parries. With this in mind, the next time you find a parry equipment early in your run, pick it up, save it. You never know when it's gonna come in handy. In a game all about timing, one single parry on riposte can change the outcome of your fight. And don't be shy. We grow by trying new things. We all gotta start somewhere, including me. Check this out. There's one time I messed my timing up so badly the enemy decided to sheath his weapon. If you made it this far, I want to personally thank you. Some of you may know me from my old Black Myth Wukong counterattack guide. It was a blast to make. I really enjoy making guides like that, even though that was my first one. Since this is my second one, I know this isn't perfect, but if there's any improvements or any feedbacks you want to give, please let me know in the comments, so I can make sure that I'm giving you all the best content. Once again, thank you so much for giving your time of the day to come and watch this video, and supporting this small channel. I wish all of you a very blessed day, and I'll see you soon. By the way, I went back and tried parrying the Draconic Tree Sentinel, and yes, I can confirm you can parry him.